Did you know that the ordinary onion sitting in your kitchen could be more dangerous than you think? Sounds crazy, right? But recent findings suggest that eating onions the wrong way, especially when mixed with certain foods, might increase your risk of developing diseases like cancer and dementia. And this is no joke. While you think you're doing the best for your health, a simple mistake in how you eat this food could turn it into a true poison for your brain and body. But is it really the onion's fault, or are we making avoidable mistakes? In this video, you'll uncover the hidden traps of a food everyone considers healthy, one that could be quietly undermining your health. Get ready, because the truth I'm about to reveal is going to shake everything you thought you knew about food and preventing serious diseases. When we think about foods that can cause cancer or harm our mental health, onions hardly come to mind, right? But the reality is that when paired with certain foods, onions can increase the risk of developing neurodegenerative diseases and even contribute to the formation of malignant tumors. Imagine eating a seemingly harmless dish and unknowingly putting your brain and body health at risk. One of the biggest culprits is poorly thought out food combinations that intensify the harmful effects of certain compounds already present in foods. And that's just the beginning. It's not just about the risk of cancer. Brain health can be severely affected too, worsening memory loss and paving the way for dementia, like Alzheimer's. A bad mix of foods involving onions can mess with the central nervous system, disrupting neurotransmitter production and causing inflammation. Over time, these imbalances can impair cognition and even contribute to mental decline. That's why it's crucial to understand how to harmonize your diet to avoid causing the exact opposite of what you intended. It's fascinating how a simple dietary mistake can create so much havoc in our bodies. One example few people know about is mixing onions with honey. While it might sound like an exotic and harmless combo, it can actually cause gas buildup, digestive issues, and even more severe complications like vision problems, or, in extreme cases, blindness. This happens due to a chemical interaction between the components in honey and onions, forming toxins that are harmful to the body. Imagine eating something as basic as onions and compromising your vision or even the health of your kidneys. It's a scenario few would consider, but it's more common than you'd think. There's still a lot to uncover about how onions interact with other foods. Combining them with juices, for example, can be a huge mistake for those trying to keep their blood sugar levels under control. Due to its high potassium and natural sugar content, onions can dangerously spike blood glucose, disrupting hormonal balance and causing surges that are a real nightmare for those looking to prevent chronic diseases and cancer. Who knew that in trying to be healthy, we could end up creating more problems? This makes you wonder, what other foods, when mixed with onions, become a real threat to our health? Onions are a go-to ingredient for those who care about their health. Packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and even folic acid, they play an essential role in preventing chronic diseases and protecting the nervous system. It's no surprise they feature in so many traditional recipes. But what most people don't know is that the way you consume onions can turn this ally into a real enemy of your health. If mixed with the wrong foods, they can end up increasing your cancer risk and harming essential cognitive functions. When it comes to preventing dementia and neurodegenerative diseases, it's easy to think of fruits, vegetables, and legumes as healthy options. Onions, when consumed the right way, help protect the brain from free radicals and oxidative stress, which are major contributors to cognitive decline. But paired with foods like processed meats or sauces loaded with sodium, they can trigger inflammation in the body, harming brain health, and even contributing to the development of malignant tumors. The irony is that a food so beneficial can become so dangerous depending on the context. The key here is understanding that, despite its nutritional properties, onions can interact adversely with other food substances. A good example is eating raw onions in large quantities along with sugary foods. This can rapidly elevate blood sugar levels, overloading the pancreas and making it difficult to control insulin levels. The result? An increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes, which in turn raises the chances of mental deterioration and dementia. A domino effect that many don't see coming. So, onions, friend or foe? It depends. It depends on what you eat with them, how much you consume, and how they're prepared. A simple onion salad, when mixed with balsamic vinegar and grilled meat, can be highly nutritious and support cardiovascular health. But the same fried onions, combined with bacon or processed products, can be a real poison for anyone trying to keep their mind sharp and stay away from chronic diseases. With that in mind, it's clear that the list of foods to avoid when eating onions isn't exactly short, right? Mixing onions with honey is a classic example of how two seemingly harmless substances can become a real health hazard. This combination triggers a chemical reaction that promotes gas formation in the digestive tract and can even lead to more serious complications like partial vision loss. This is because honey has properties that, when in contact with certain onion compounds, intensify the formation of substances that damage eye tissue. It's hard to imagine something so simple could cause blindness, but documented cases of this do exist. Another common mistake is drinking onion juice. Some diets advocate for consuming concentrated juices to detoxify the body, but this habit can cause more harm than good. Onion juice, for instance, has a high potassium content, which can be catastrophic for people with kidney problems. Plus, the natural sugars in the juice quickly raise glucose levels, making blood sugar control more difficult. The irony is that, in trying to boost their health, many end up developing chronic diseases and aggravating existing conditions. And what about fried onions? While delicious, frying onions at high temperatures turns them into a real bomb of trans fats and toxins that damage brain cells. This increases inflammation in the body, which can accelerate the onset of dementia and other neurodegenerative diseases. Those struggling with memory loss or looking to prevent issues like Alzheimer's should stay far away from this dish. After all, as tasty as fried onions are, eating them often can pose serious risks to mental health and increase the chances of cancer in the nervous system. So how can we ensure we're eating onions in a safe and healthy way? The answer lies in understanding what not to do. It's essential to watch out for combinations that trigger adverse reactions in the body and choose cooking methods that preserve their benefits. While common sense leads us to believe that all vegetables are harmless, the example of onions shows that we need a more critical and informed approach when planning the ideal meal. This brings us to another crucial point. What are the benefits of consuming onions the right way? When consumed properly, onions are a nutritional powerhouse. They're packed with bioactive compounds that help lower cholesterol, improve blood circulation, and even boost the immune system. For example, when combined with lean meats or even apple cider vinegar, these antioxidant compounds are enhanced, acting as a shield against the development of chronic diseases. Science has already proven that moderate consumption of onions can help prevent digestive cancers while improving the absorption of essential nutrients. And that's not all. Onions can also be a great ally in fighting cardiovascular diseases. When prepared alongside lean meats like chicken or fish, they help regulate blood pressure and reduce the buildup of fat in the arteries. The secret lies in their sulfur compounds, which promote the dilation of blood vessels and improve oxygen flow. This combination not only protects the heart, but also the brain, lowering the risk of dementia and other neurodegenerative diseases. Want a practical example? A simple dish of grilled onions with chicken breast can be the solution for those looking to prevent these issues. Another lesser-known benefit is onions' role in combating systemic inflammation. When consumed with whole grains like rice or quinoa, they help reduce levels of inflammatory markers, which are directly linked to the onset of autoimmune diseases and an increased risk of cancer. In other words, a diet rich in onions and grains can promote healthier digestion while protecting the body against cellular deterioration. And contrary to what many think, these benefits appear even in small portions, as long as the diet is balanced and varied. Understanding these positive effects is crucial for those who want to use diet as a tool for preventive health. The key to harnessing the benefits of onions lies in moderation and pairing them correctly with other foods. If you usually eat them on their own or with inflammatory foods, you could be canceling out their advantages. So, next time you think about adding onions to your menu, consider mixing them with high-quality protein and fiber sources. This way, you maximize their beneficial properties and strengthen your body against serious diseases. But does every way of consuming onions yield these results? Let's see what comes next. The best way to get the most out of onions is by cooking them correctly and pairing them with foods that amplify their properties. Cooking onions with lean meat or whole grains, for example, is a way to release their bioactive compounds without losing essential nutrients. The heat helps break down the fibers and makes digestion easier, which enhances the absorption of nutrients like folic acid and quercetin, two key elements for brain health and cancer prevention. Plus, when cooked at low temperatures, onions maintain their anti-inflammatory effect and help prevent chronic diseases. But it's important to remember that not all methods of preparing onions are beneficial. Overcooking or frying them at high temperatures can degrade compounds like allicin, which is responsible for a large part of their antioxidant effects. Instead, opt for steaming or lightly sautéing with olive oil to preserve their nutrients. A practical example would be preparing a dish of grilled onions with chickpeas, which not only tastes great, but also helps protect the body against oxidative stress, a factor that contributes to the development of dementia and neurodegenerative diseases. Another valuable tip is to pair onions with apple cider vinegar or lemon juice. These acidic substances enhance the release of sulfur compounds, which aid in detoxifying the body and strengthening the immune system. A salad of raw onions dressed with balsamic vinegar and herbs can be an excellent choice for those looking to support cardiovascular health and prevent malignant tumors. Who would have thought something so simple could have such a powerful effect on the body, right? Science is increasingly showing us that, with balance and the right food choices, we can find a natural pharmacy right in our kitchen. Finally, if you want to get the most out of onions, it's essential to avoid mixing them with foods high in trans fats or refined sugars. These ingredients not only negate the benefits of onions, but also increase the risk of inflammation and chronic diseases. So, next time you're preparing onions, remember, less is more. Cooking them with care and pairing them with natural ingredients makes all the difference. Now, what about the common mistake many people make when trying to consume onions healthily? Let's break it down. One of the most common mistakes people make when trying to benefit from onions is consuming them in the form of concentrated juices. Sounds contradictory, doesn't it? After all, juices are always seen as healthy and full of nutrients. But in the case of onions, this practice can actually be harmful. When turned into juice, onions have their sugars and potassium released much faster, which dramatically raises blood sugar levels. For those with diabetes or kidney problems, that's a real health hazard. Instead of strengthening the body, this kind of uncontrolled consumption increases the risk of heart complications and even neurological diseases. And it doesn't stop there. Consuming too much onion juice can cause a significant increase in potassium levels in the body. The problem is, for those taking medications that interfere with electrolyte balance, this can be dangerous. Excess potassium can lead to heart arrhythmias and impair kidney function, not to mention the potential damage to the nervous system. In severe cases, it can even provoke brain inflammation, increasing the risk of dementia and neurodegenerative diseases. Imagine trying to improve your health and, without realizing it, ending up contributing to the decline of brain functions. Another point that deserves attention is the misconception that drinking onion juice aids digestion. Although onions do contain fibers and compounds that promote intestinal transit, the juice only concentrates the sugars, leaving these important elements behind. This means that instead of improving digestive health, it can overload the pancreas and kidneys, causing blood sugar spikes. And if you pair onion juice with other starchy foods like potatoes or rice, the impact on your metabolism can be even worse. It's like trying to do good for your body but ending up disrupting its natural balance. So, if you want to include onions in your diet, forget the trend of concentrated juices and stick to more traditional forms. Cooked, grilled, or even raw in small amounts, they bring way more benefits without the risks associated with excessive consumption. The rule is clear: balance and moderation. So, instead of turning onions into juice, why not include them in dishes that really enhance their nutrients? Cooking them with meat, for example, or even using them as a seasoning in soups are safer and healthier options. And what about the potassium levels in onion juice? Let's explore that further. Onion juice, despite being unconventional, is something that some people still use in diets and alternative health routines. But what many don't know is that this drink contains such high potassium levels that it can be harmful, especially for those who already have kidney problems or take medications that affect electrolyte balance. When you consume onion juice, the potassium present is rapidly absorbed by the body, overloading the kidneys and interfering with blood pressure regulation. In practical terms, it means that the juice, supposedly a health ally, can end up increasing the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Studies show that excessive potassium in the blood can lead to complications such as heart arrhythmias and even brain inflammation, contributing to the development of neurodegenerative diseases. It's surprising how a simple dietary habit can negatively impact brain health and the nervous system as a whole. What once seemed like a healthy alternative could actually be promoting diseases like dementia or even malignant tumors in the nervous system. This is a clear example of why having the right knowledge is crucial when making food choices. The impact on blood sugar levels is another point worth highlighting. Consuming onion juice can cause a sudden spike in blood sugar, making this practice dangerous for people who need to strictly control those levels, such as diabetics. The effect is so rapid and intense that, in some situations, regular consumption of the juice can worsen health conditions, impairing insulin control, and making the body more prone to developing chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes, and all of this, ironically, in an attempt to be healthier. Understanding how the body reacts to different forms of consumption is the key to avoiding these issues. Instead of turning to juice, it's much safer to use onions traditionally, as a seasoning or paired with foods that help balance their effects in the body. This way, you preserve the natural benefits of onions without putting the potassium or glucose levels at risk. Nature has already provided us with the tools, and it's up to us to use them wisely and strategically. Speaking of which, what about onions' impact on blood sugar levels? Let's dig deeper into that. Eating onions might seem harmless, but when it comes to their impact on blood sugar levels, things get a little more complicated. Onions, especially in concentrated juice form, can cause significant spikes in glucose levels, an effect that's even more concerning for people with diabetes or insulin resistance. This happens because when onions are processed into juice, their natural fibers, which help regulate sugar absorption, are lost. What's left is a concentration of rapidly digestible carbs that overwork the pancreas and increase the risk of type 2 diabetes and other chronic conditions. If your goal is to prevent neurodegenerative diseases and keep your brain healthy, it's essential to avoid these glucose spikes, as they're directly linked to brain inflammation and impaired cognitive function. Who would have thought that a simple onion juice could contribute to an increased risk of dementia? Elevated glucose levels in the blood directly affect the brain, altering neurotransmitters and even favoring the formation of plaques that lead to cognitive deterioration, as seen in Alzheimer's disease. It's like trying to include a healthy food in your diet and ending up sabotaging your own mental health. Controlling blood sugar levels is also crucial to prevent the development of malignant tumors. When there's a high concentration of sugar in the blood, the body produces more insulin, creating an environment conducive to the growth of cancer cells. This doesn't mean you should completely eliminate onions from your diet, but it does mean you need to be more cautious with food combinations and preparation methods. Eating onions in salads, for example, with lean protein sources and fiber-rich vegetables, helps keep glucose levels balanced and reduces the risk of chronic diseases and nervous system cancer. For those looking to maintain both brain and physical health, the secret lies in moderation and smart food pairing. Instead of following passing trends like onion juice, it's safer to go for recipes that include whole grains, lean proteins, and a variety of vegetables. That way, your body gets all the necessary nutrients without the risks associated with overconsumption of certain foods. Now that you know how onion juice can negatively impact the body, it's time to understand if onions are really as dangerous as they seem. So, now you know that the way we consume onions could be quietly sabotaging our health without us even realizing it. And that leads to an important question. How many other everyday foods could be harming us without our knowledge? Maybe it's time to reevaluate everything we put on our plates. If you really want to protect your memory, avoid neurodegenerative diseases, and reduce your cancer risk, start paying attention to these details that nobody tells you about. After all, is it really worth risking your health over a simple food combination? Now tell me, have you made any of these mistakes when eating onions? Drop a comment with your experience or any questions you have about the topic. And don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to know these facts. And of course, if you want to keep learning more about how to protect your health and avoid dietary traps, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any tips. Because in the end, your health is what you eat. So, how about starting to make the right choices from now on?